Hey guys, I'm the Synchro Fanatic and I'm back with a new video with a very special guest on today. So Dan, UK Nationals happened this weekend, just passed, and what happened at UK Nationals?
Took Labrynth and my favourite deck, top 64 UK Nats
Let's
first
go!
Nationals.
We can't top locals, but you can top the Nats. So yeah, and congratulations, that's an incredible achievement. I got obviously got the fancy mat and the sleeves to prove it, but so how was your experience overall with the event, like going into it?
Being my first Nats, I was a bit nervous, as you say, a bit of an X3 locals legend. Quite nervous for it, but as I started playing the event ran alright. I enjoyed it a lot, played some good games, met some good people. Yeah, it was a good day out.
Good man, good stuff. So the whole Snake Eye Tier 0 pandemic that we have at the minute didn't deter you?
Not really. That sort of influenced my deck choice a lot.
Okay.
Expecting a lot of Snake Eye.
Well, speaking of deck choices, let's just get into it and let's see, starting with a very, very beautiful Minerva Synchro mat, but also, is that let's just move a bit closer. Let's just move a bit closer. Is that a Starlight Lady Labrynth?
It is a Starlight Lady.
Oh, man does love his stuff. Yes, I'm touching your cards. I'm getting them out of the way. We don't want to see your extra deck. No one cares about the purples. Just take me through the deck list, Dan, and just explain to me like your choices and ratios of like any particular cards, why you picked like the ratios you did. Just as long as you want. Yeah, just go for it.
So first of all, for monsters, I went for 2 Lady,
Yep.
1 Lovely,
Yep.
1 Arias, 2 Ariana, 1 Kuklock, and 3 Lord. So as you can see, there's no furniture in this list. I was doing some play testing on the Thursday. But alright, other than Kuklock, I keep saying no furniture.
This guy keeps lying. I don't play furniture. What's that then?
So I was doing some testing on the Thursday before, and the furniture just seemed terrible because with Snake Eye you have to pitch furniture before they make Apo, because otherwise you just go -2. And the issue with Snake Eye is as part of their combo they can make a Nightmare Phoenix and still go full board. So you discard, set, and then they just pop the card you've set. So you've gone -2 for no reason.
Yeah.
There's currently not much Omni Negates in the game, and so I decided a heavy trap build would go very well into the meta. And it worked out for me. I came against a lot of Snake Eye. So for the monsters, obviously 2 Lady because you want big beefy women.
Yeah.
1 Arias. This was mainly to make Chaos Angel plays, but also if you wanted to reset under for Lovely, you could bounce her back with big and then immediately summon to bring back.
Relatively standard Labrynth lineup for that.
Lord was probably the MVP out of the monsters.
Yeah, because I'm very familiar with this guy talking about his. I'm touching your cards again. With a certain golden fellow.
Yeah.
What was your thought process about playing this card? Because you don't see many. I don't think I've seen many lab players, if any, actually, just play him like they're just kind of because he was all the rage in Eldritch format. But Labrynth never seemed to need it. I guess because of Lady Labrynth, you don't need it. But so what made you want to play this card?
So the more I was looking at deck lists and whatnot, the more I was realising back row removals was coming to the main deck, and putting this in, I thought Tempire was going to be quite popular.
Yeah.
And so I thought put Heavenly in, Tempire becomes a bit of a buy at that point because they can't remove your back row. It becomes really easy, and also it's a bit of it's like a pseudo furniture.
Yeah.
Because it can search any trap, so it's almost like a better furniture in my mind. That was sort of the reason for main.
So
deck.
it was like a call for the Tempire side of the meta, basically, because it basically forces them to play through the back row.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good call because that is pretty much how they bank on, like, if they turn off half your deck, you have to think. Mm-hmm. So was that all the monsters you played?
That's all the monsters in the main deck.
Yeah. So no hand traps. No
hand traps.
So it's like playing furniture, but then we play the one furniture.
Yeah, my logic for that was we're not going to out hand trap Snake Eye just because of how much non-engine they can play. So we've got to take the game from a different aspect, which is completely focusing on traps, because again they can't interact with traps. They can maybe remove 1 if you go second off of IP, but other than that you've got to play a different angle, which is what Lab's perfect at doing. I just didn't think hand traps were the correct way to go this format.
Okay, fair enough. That's definitely I think some of the other lists today in the Nats as well will follow the same logic. But yeah, if you want to take us through to the spell cards now, mate.
For spells, we just play in the main 3 pros. That's it. literally just search any trap you want, essentially. Your extra deck doesn't really matter, you're not drawing much, so there's no limitation on prosp. There's a lot of games, it was like I was either aiming for some form of floodgate for Snake Eye, or I was looking for that Lord just to have that layer of protection.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice bit of consistency, because without furniture you can brick sometimes.
Yeah.
So that bit of consistency right there saved me loads of games.
So if you get a pot, you're looking for, say, whatever you're missing. So so ideally you'd want like one of your welcomes, and then like whatever your condition is for the deck.
Because this deck, the way it works is sort of, you've got to pick your hand to. Because you're limited on what you can play, you can only set 5 cards at a time.
Yeah.
You've got to pick the correct cards. That's why I chose this over something like Extra.
So if you were like going blind into game 1, for example, let's say you won the die roll, you have like a good hand side, you have like your welcome stuff, but you were to pop. What if you were to blind going forward? Like, what would your kind of cards would you be looking for? Because normally people would go for like extra resources, like hand traps and stuff to do so, but because you don't have those hand traps, like were you just looking for more copies of welcome, or just you're out of the trap cards?
So if I saw engine, let's say, I'd either be looking for this guy for a bit of protection.
Yeah.
Another thing I was doing, so if I'd only open one of the welcome traps, I'd try and search the other welcome. That way you're not losing to Ash, because you've got both and they can only Ash one of them. So that way you've got your engine rolling at that point. Other than this, it was probably one of the floodgates, because I mean, with how good popular Snake Eye is, you've got a good chance that your floodgate's going to hit it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Was there any more spells?
No, that's it for the spells.
No, just the parts. Okay, well, let's get to the meat and potatoes of any Labrynth set then.
Now we've got a hefty lot of traps, so we play 3 of each welcome trap. Like I say, no furniture. You have to max out just so you don't brick.
Yeah.
And to help that, 3 trap trick. It's an extra copy of every trap in your deck.
Yeah. Just put it there a bit.
There you are. Yeah, trap trick was one of my favourite traps to set off Lord as well, or Lady, just because then it gives you options. And so another thing was if you set it, your opponent tries to pop it, you can then chain it and you still have the interruption.
Yeah.
As opposed to setting the interruption directly from deck. That's why I really like trap trick. Next trap, 3 Karma Cannon.
Of course, yeah.
It's probably the best normal trap in the format right now.
It really is. I think it's good against everything. It always has to use.
Stops Tenpai in the battle phase. They can chain all their quick synchros, but you're still flipping them all face down, it don't matter. Gets around the unaffected effect if you have a monster on board, which is nice. And it just really OTK Snake Eye, like, their board's gone if you use this.
Yeah.
And again, because there's no Omni negates, you can afford to hold it to the last second. It's really nice.
It's ultimately the artwork shows you you're unleashing your last with the ultimate weapon. Okay.
So a weird card which no one's really playing. I played 3 Compulse.
Okay, alright. The OG.
What the main reason was because, spoiler alert, I play Skill Drain. That's what we're doing this day.
Oh, I'm going to have to end the drug profile here, but no, carry.
And so this lets you play under Skill Drain quite nicely when you want to reset traps. And it's not once per turn, so if you have multiple, you can always get something going.
Yes.
Another thing was, we found out that I was quite good going second into Snake Eye, surprisingly. And so a lot of Snake Eye players were ending on Apo on their board, and if you can pulse an Apo back,
they can't respond.
They've wasted so many resources on that Apo, like, you've just got rid of it.
It's a weird 1-for-1, but in reality, because they put so much into it, it's kind of like a 1 for
it's really nice. And if you want to bounce the Flamberge back, they're not going to get the follow-up from the Flamberge, bring him back too. It's honestly a really nice form of removal, bouncing back to hand. It performed well for me, and it was a bit of a panic pick because I built this deck on like 6:30 on the Friday night. I panic switched.
The best time to build any deck.
This was just sort of the only card I could come up with, but it performed really well. I think I'd leave it in, to be quite honest.
Do you think it was a good choice because people didn't see it coming as well?
That's the amount of people. I had a guy format Apo, and I bounced that back to the deck. And he looked at me, and I was just like, it's worked out really well for me, that one has.
So I'm sorry, mate. I don't play Monster. I don't believe in the orange cards.
But yeah, I think it was a really good choice, to be fair. Again, the not once per turn worked out really well for me.
Yeah, so it definitely the surprise factor. Okay, so next traps.
Standard punishment. This is your utility for the deck. The dogmatic punishment. Yes, they're QCR. They're very nice.
Just got a dragon on it. Just saying. It's kind of relevant to my interest.
It's one of them. The extra deck block never comes up really because with this build you're rarely going into the extra deck.
Yeah, I mean you've already said you play skill drain, like
yeah, exactly.
you know, like.
And it's your toolbox essentially. Punishment is because depending what you send off it, you can get additional pops, more resources, follow up. It's a really good card. Probably one of my favourite normal traps to use in Resolve.
One of the live stream games at Nats, if you were, I don't know if you were watching the live stream as well, but one of the web games we were watching, we saw one player actually play around punishment.
Yeah.
Against I can't remember which deck it was, but they bounced actually the monsters to avoid the punishment effect. And it got me thinking, like, do you think that's going to be a risk playing punishment going into the future now if people have picked up on that with that particular against that particular strategy?
I think with Lab you've always got that issue of because a lot of your stuff targets.
Yeah.
You're always going to have an issue of people playing around it, and that's sort of where you have to get to a point in the game where you can force stuff. So you can then get your more important traps to resolve. So a lot of the time, if you say have Karma Cannon, you can force a lot to resolve just by flipping Karma Cannon, and then you chain your punishment on, and you then force your punishment to resolve. That's what a lot of Lab is. You've got to force a lot of things out before you can actually get your engine going.
Yeah. So you'll still be? Would you still say you'd be playing punishment going forward?
100%. I don't think you can play Lab without punishment currently. I think it's one of the best normal traps.
Definitely, yeah.
With the state of the game. The last normal trap is Terrace of the Overroot.
Okay, and I'm guessing this is for any cash tier that's lingering about or something.
Yeah. This is so a lot of the Snake Eye engines were playing cash as well, which was quite nice. Another important thing with this was you can get rid of the Tempai field spell with it. So a lot of the time I was finding with Lab, you struggle to remove spells and traps because a lot of your removal is monster removal, especially with like punishments and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's nice if my opponent activates Sangan Summoning, is it? And then I Terrors of the Overroot it away, and a lot of the time they just go pass. They've got you get rid of the field spell and you're fine. And then it would also make my other traps live in the main phase.
Yeah.
This was a card I don't see many Lab players playing, but I think it is a really good card.
Do you think it did well for you this weekend? Was
it? Definitely. It was, and as well another thing against Snake Eye is because you're putting one from the grave face down as well. You can, if your opponent's very limited on resources, you could send Flamberge and pull one of the level ones out of grave, and then don't get any special summons.
Yeah.
Off the standard combo, which is really, really nice. And as we know, putting things face down in Snake Eye is really good.
Fair enough. Like I do want to talk about more about the trap lineup here because there's going to be a lot of stuff when we get, but I will get that to when we get to that because I do want to ask about side decking because obviously that's going to be a very key thing.
Yes.
So we'll get to that later. But that was the last of the normal traps.
That was all the normal.
All right.
And now,
let's see it.
The best bit of the day.
Let's see the war crimes.
We played 3 skill drain and 1 rivalry.
What is this? Look, right. I'm sorry. How much of a degenerate do you have to be like, yeah, I'll buy 3 QCR skill drains, and then you have a super rivalry. Just
ignore that part.
Ignore that. I let the other stuff slide, but like you play 3 QCR. Anyway, sorry. So yeah. So explain your logic with these ones. I don't think you need to, but go ahead.
Yeah, rivalry obvious. It's an FTK into Snake Eye. Anytime I flipped that card, I won the game. There was no debate on that. That was a easy game won with rivalry. Skill drain. Yes, it hit Snake Eye, but the main target for this was actually Tempai. So before the event, I made the call that because Tempai's budget, I'll come against a lot of Tempai, which I did. I played against 4 Tempai players in my 11 rounds, and every time this was flipped, they can't beat that card simply because they're not big enough to attack. They don't get any of their protection. They can't synchro summon in the battle phase. It's very easy to beat them with skill drain.
Yeah, because the field spell only protects against activating effects, if I believe. So the skill drain doesn't care.
A lot of the time, if I saw them put field spell down, I'd just shot them with skill drain just because to get around that protection. But yeah, skill drain. Anytime I saw one of these 4 cards, it was pretty much game. Like I more or less won.
So were there any of the floodgates you were tempted to play, or were these like the 4 you knew you were going to play going forward?
I knew these were the 4 which would 100% be in the main deck.
Yeah.
I did consider other floodgates for the side deck. But no other floodgate was better than these 4 for the main deck.
Okay, fair enough then. Okay, and what were the next cards?
And then the last 3 cards are Solemn Strikes.
The old classic.
Main reason for this is to protect your welcomes against Ash Blossom, but if your welcomes went through, it was always nice. to strike some of the Snake Eye effects, mainly when they send 2, because then you've made them go neg 2. Or against Tempai, if you strike the Bident Dragon, they're going to scramble a little bit for resources. But overall, Strike was quite a flexible card, which I really liked about it. And again, because we're setting 5 and passing a lot of time, it didn't matter how slow it was going second, because we're playing a slow deck anyway. There's not many fast combos with the deck.
Yeah. So regarding the Ash Blossom, did that ever come? How frequently did that come up this weekend?
Surprisingly, quite a lot actually. There's a lot of games. I got to a point where it was have Ash or lose, and because of the strike, I won the games because the one Ash Blossom wasn't doing anything because I striked the Ash. So I was definitely really glad I played this card.
Yeah. It's, 1,500 life points, it's the cheapest of strike cards, but it's definitely a unique pick. I don't see a lot of players. Between the Compulse and the Strike, I definitely think the surprise factor was here.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are going to be expecting these. We all know they're going to be expecting them, but, the Ash Blossom, as most people know about the Labrynth traps, so this I can see has been useful. But so that's the main deck.
Yeah.
So is there anything you drop from the main deck if you were to go? If you, let's say hypothetically you were to go through the tournament again, what would you change in the main deck?
The only thing I consider a little bit different is maybe this Arias not played. It didn't come up as much as I thought it would. And sometimes when I saw it, it was a bit like, because I was going second, yes, I could set a trap from hand and use it, but then I think I'd have just rather it be another trap.
Yeah.
In terms of the other traps, I think the way the deck was built, I had siding in mind as well a lot, so I was quite happy with the main deck. I think the main deck performed perfectly.
Would you say Arias was more in there for siding then? It's an easy card to side out, or it's a card that you can use to get to your side cards a bit easier?
The initial plan was Chaos Angel play and Big Welcome play.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, going first, it was out. I sided it out straight away. And then in certain matchups, I'd even side it out going second because I was like, it's not going to do anything. Mainly in the Lab Mirror I sided it out because I just thought it was the better option because there's cards which I'll show you in the side deck which were just better for the Lab Mirror in that case.
Okay, well, cool. So let's go to the most, probably the least important part of the deck, is the extra deck.
Yeah, the extra deck. It's probably not. It's not that interesting.
It's punishment target. What?
Yeah.
Punishment target.
So
2.
punishment target 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Natiz is an extra pop. It's the most standard one. Same with Garura, an extra draw for the advantage, especially because you're playing a trap deck. Any +1 you can get is very vital.
Of course.
Then we play the 2 Chimera fusions.
Yep.
This one brings back from Grave, that brings back from Banish. This one was really good into Branded because Mirror Jade Banish, I can always bring it back.
Yeah.
This one was useless. I probably wouldn't play this one in future because you've got so many ways to bring back from Grave. I don't think I ever sent this to Grave.
You'd always choose Berthabet over.
Yeah, this one came up quite a lot because Banishing Lovely sort of really sucks for you.
Yeah.
So this one was vital, as I say, in Branded. But yeah, this was terrible. I wouldn't play this again.
Okay,
it didn't come up.
Okay, next one.
The Synchros.
Oh, the best part of the deck.
The best bit. We played Malong, Packbit, Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel, pretty self-explanatory. Banish, you can bring it back a few times to get extra banishes.
Right.
Packbit is mainly for the Snake Eye matchup because when they spell trap your monsters, you can send Packbit off punishment, put it in a spell trap, and you can start pushing your monsters back up.
Yeah. Because it's a relatively new card, this as well,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
really good. And there's a couple matchups, like again in Branded, instead of popping Mirror Jade, I could put it in the spell trap, so I wouldn't trigger the effects and lose my entire board in the end phase, which is really nice. Malong was in here because of Snake Eye. So what they do is they go normal summon Ash, search Poplar effect. You'd pop Snake Eye Ash, and then you'd send Malong and you bounce Poplar back to hand.
Yeah.
So they then wouldn't get the Poplar effect to put back in spell trap. And so you just took away 2 bodies off them, which was really, really nice. I won quite a few games off that, surprisingly, because as we know, Snake Eye has a tendency to brick a little bit. And if you stop that one play, sometimes that's
You're not supposed to say that out loud.
But
It's tier 0, remember? Can't harm him, bad.
but yeah, that was really good. That came up a lot.
So, was there any more punishment targets, or?
Yeah, for more punishment targets.
I remember this guy.
I played Aggregator and the Booch Velos. Aggregator was in case I came against Flu, just in case. Didn't. It was also in theory good into Fire King because you can punishment send it and negate the continuous spell, so you can then pop the field spell without it being negated. I didn't send it, but I'd still probably keep it in the extra deck just because it is a nice card to have. And then this was in there just to send like Garura out on the bigger targets.
Yeah.
It's 3,500, it's huge. You'll pop anything with punishment to that point.
Yeah.
But that's it for the punishment targets.
Any other punishment targets, if you like, maybe for like Chimera, would you consider like playing maybe like Winged Mister or something like perhaps?
I thought about Omega. If Fire King became more popular again, I would probably play Omega because then you could shuffle the Garunix back into deck if you send Omega. In terms of punishment targets, I don't think there's really much better. I think it would maybe just be a second Chaos Angel or a second McCracker. Because, yeah, as you say, I played the one McCracker and the second one did come up once, but I thought I'd play one in this because I'm not producing as much bodies without
Less
furniture.
monsters to make them, to make it useful.
So the second one did come up in one game, so I probably would play the second McCracker. For the other Link monsters, we play Anima. We only have we only have one level 1, but sometimes I had enough to bring it out, and it was nice to go into SP as well. Didn't summon this once, and same with Dark. Didn't summon that at all.
Has the card, just doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why is Dark being pushed to the side?
Yeah, we didn't summon either of these once. They were in there just in case, but honestly, I don't think you need them.
You might not need them, but do you think you feel more comfortable having them in your extra
that was
deck?
the logic. Like, I knew I wasn't going to summon them because you get Fiend locked a lot in this deck. And you even get extra deck locked sometimes with punishment. So and with the lack of Dark monsters running around outside of Witch, it was a bit iffy. Summoning SP and Dark, but I'd still keep them in just for peace of mind.
Yeah, it's just it's like comfort picks yourself.
And then the last two cards, I played 2 Typhon, the honorary lab card.
Typhon, 2.
Yeah.
No Zeus, just Typhon.
Nah, it's a fiend. There's a lot of 3k bodies out there. You can summon it really easy in your deck. Yeah, 2 Typhon is standard in lab, I'd say.
Yeah.
And if you're going first, you can banish the 1.
It's definitely the. I feel like it's definitely the control the deck.
Yeah, it was so good, and it won me games like just slapping that on the board, bouncing a monster, and that.
2900 attack is nothing to sniff at.
Yeah, it was enough to OTK a lot of games, which was really nice.
So with the because what I noticed here with the extra deck is that because we were talking about punishment targets, but we also have playing prosperity. So if you were potting, what would your targets be? Generally, like what sort of cards would you get rid of first?
So going blind first, it tended to be something like something like that going blind first. So obviously, I'm not making a Typhon going first. I realised how bad this was, so I just started banishing it all the time. The game with Dark and SP, they were rarely coming up, so I just banished them. Anima's doing nothing going first if SP's gone, and then Aggregator just weren't really coming up enough. So these were the sort of standard 6.
So there was never usually a dilemma on like what to banish.
No, it's relatively simple. Again, because with Lab, everything sort of relies on the main deck, and that's where most of your removal is.
You know what you need.
It's not too hard to decide. I mean, if you really want to, you can take the risk and banish this the second Typhon instead. But there's too many games where that second Typhon would come up. So I'd only banish 1 and leave 1 in the extra deck.
Yeah, I mean, normal summon Ku Klux, turn it into giant mech is quite
powerful. That came up more than you'd think.
I can't believe it. Like it's the stupidest thing in this game that work. Like normal summon Karibo, turn it into that. It's definitely a play. It's probably happened at some point. So yeah, to the side deck now.
Yeah, the side. I wouldn't say it's spice, but like so.
It's clearly worked. So let's go through it.
3 Shifter.
Oh, turn off the camera.
So the main thing for Shifter was I was very scared of Voiceless going into this event. And Shifter's really good into Voiceless.
Okay.
Just because they rely on the graveyard a little bit.
Were you, sorry to interject, but
Yeah.
were you also thinking about the Light Sworn matchup potentially? Because there's a bit of Light Sworn hype at UK Nuts. And I thought that might be something that players were considering.
I did look at it briefly. I don't think that really came up for me too much. But I had played against it because I realised that traps were somewhat okay into the deck in general. And again, once you get a rivalry or a skill drain into that matchup, because everything's a bit like different types and whatnot, you're pretty comfortable. But if I had come against Light Sworn, this would have been really good into that.
Yeah.
And it had definitely gone in. Another thing for it was Snake Eye going second. So it doesn't necessarily stop them playing, but it hinders them to a point where you could stabilise very easy.
Yeah.
And they've also wasted a starter at that point. And you're not also, because you're probably not summoning on your turn, even if they put something in spell trap from Temple, you're not going to trigger the Temple in your turn.
Yeah.
So then they don't get the search until their turn, which by that point you've generated a lot of advantage, which is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Shifter was really good in the trap variant.
Yeah.
But there was one game where I got Harpist under Shifter for 5. So I had to banish 5 traps.
I mean, that's just desserts at that point.
Yeah. For the other monsters, I played 3 Lava Golem.
Okay.
Again, we're not really using a normal summon. For this, I'd side out 2 Ariana if this went in, just to not conflict. Again, mainly for Voiceless because I'm very scared of Omni Negates with this deck.
Yeah.
But it is good into other matchups like Branded because you can remove a lot of their board, and we don't care about Puppet Lock in this deck. Surprise. But you can get rid of their Mirror Jade.
I know a deck that cares about Puppet Lock.
It was just good for the boards with Omni Negates on. You put this in, you clear the Omni Negates, and you're safe to just play the game as you want.
Did I have to ask the question, did the bird effect ever come up?
Yes, I got to a point where I was looking at time, and my opponent realised they had Lava Golem on board, and he was like, I can't win because of the burn effect.
Yeah.
Which was really good, and it also came up to allow me to OTK because of the burn effect, which was really nice.
He is the OG Birdmeister.
He is a very good card. That's it for the
timeless, yeah, really is.
We play 1 Lab in the side. This is mainly for those control matchups, like the Lab Mirror, and it was also there for Runic Stun.
Yeah.
Because Tony welcomes into a pop, you'll start removing the board very easy.
Yeah.
Especially because again, a lot of your pops are monster removal, so this makes it really nice. And to bring back your extra bodies in the control matchups it's because they're all about advantage. So this really helps with that.
You turn the 1-for-1s into like 1-for-2.
Exactly. So. It's great.
Yeah. So defo can see that being useful.
3D barrier.
What's that for?
So, to be quite honest, this could have been 2D barrier. I think 3 was a bit many, but my logic was I wanted to see it 100% into Tempai.
Okay.
Because they're not really going to do the link time play on me because I'm not putting 5s in the grave. I wanted to 100% see it into Brandy because that's a very tough matchup. And again, against Voiceless, Call, Ritual, and it's probably a turn skip, which was nice.
By the way, Konami. Konami. If you're watching this, very unlikely event you're watching this, because I know you've got cameras in my house. Please ban this card and remake it, and then remove the synchro bits. Thank you, please. Very nice.
We played 2 DDG. It was the same logic as Shifter.
You don't like graveyards, do you?
No, not at all. It was the same logic as Shifter. It doesn't necessarily skip the turn on Snake Eye, but it very much limits what they can do. And if they want to commit too much, they lose so many resources. And again, go first into Voiceless, banish their board, they can't play. Like I say, I was very scared of Voiceless just because this deck has such a rough time into it. Just because
So Voiceless was the deck you had the most, was that just because of a lack of matchup knowledge, or just that I think that deck has the best chance?
So I haven't tested against Voiceless much, which is one thing, but I also know a Omni Negate and a double pop, well, it can be, depending how many rituals they have, it can be as many pops as they want. But yeah, that was just going to be an end to the game plan if they resolved that. So I really had to prepare for Voiceless because the main deck was built for Tempai and Snake Eye, so I didn't need much extra in the side. Just because, as I say, the main deck was very well prepared. So
would you say Voiceless is Labrynth's hardest matchup in general, or is just your hardest matchup as a
I would say it's between Voiceless and Runic. Those two are
Right.
your hardest matchups playing Lab. The difference with Runic is I had the rest of the sides I also was prepared for, and having the Lab helps you a little bit more in that matchup. Whereas Voiceless, the traps I was playing didn't necessarily solve the issue I was having.
But you mentioned about the D barriers as well, that you think you should only play 2. What would you have swapped the third one out for?
So as we'll see, I'll show you the last 3 cards. I wasn't playing Eradicator. It probably should have been Eradicator, just in case I had come against Runic. Or because I play Lord, it could have been the Imperial Iron Wall to set off of Lord, because then Runic's can't actually activate. Because Runic's stun was a bit of a fear, which is why these sort of went in, because Anti-Spell into Runic's great, and Snake Eye got, and then that's...
I suppose Branded as well for Anti-Spell as well.
Yeah, exactly. These 3 going into first in any matchup.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every deck loses to Anti-Spell right now.
If there's a rogue triff about, you've got none of that.
I don't think there's a deck other than Lab which can play under Anti-Spell right now, as far as I'm aware. It's such a good card.
Yeah, probably. I mean, so say, probably Salomon Grey. Oh, because that's everywhere right now. No, I don't know. Yeah, Anti-Spell being at 1 is an interesting one, but like it's still very. I mean, honestly, I'd be happy to see Anti-Spell banned because
I think it should be banned because, as I said,
sacky as crap
with
now.
Cross, I was essentially running so many copies of this because I'd see it so often. And again, any game you go first, you flip this, it's almost impossible to lose playing Trap Lab. Because
I'd rather ban this though. We
No, that's fine.
No. Listen here. But yeah, okay. So that's a side deck. So
That's a side, yeah.
That's brilliant. So I'll just scoop those back up for you. So now the deck is like complete and we've done it. So just talk me through your matchups like quickly, what you can remember and sort of.
Yes. So I came against 4 Snake Eye, 4 Tempai, 1 Branded Chimera, 1 Branded, 1 Lab, and then in top 64 I played against the Snake Eye. I won the Lab Mirror relatively comfortably, even without a Rad. Guardian Chimera, Branded Chimera, that was again okay because I put Lord up. Guardian Chimera isn't able to remove your board, then you're pretty comfortable. And they're locks because they put you under a dark lock, and you have to set your cards before activating them. We're playing a trap deck, we're setting our cards anyway. Branded I lost, that's a very rough matchup for Lab. I'd say that's, if you go second, it's quite hard to beat because they Guardian Chimera your board again.
Even with all the training from your good bestest friend Ashley Jones,
my biggest hater.
your number 1 fan.
Played my 4 Snake Eye matches, were pretty comfortable. My only loss was to time, but I was 100% winning that game, so it's one of them. And I didn't lose to a single Tempai. Tempai for Lab is the freest match. You can't lose to Tempai.
That sounds like a challenge.
even though I lost to locals twice. That's all.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We can't speak about that incident. But I mean, as you said with the skill drone earlier, I guess flipping skill drone must be nice.
Oh, flipping skill drone's great.
It's hit 3 for some reason.
Brain power.
We'll limit the other footcase to keep skill drone free. But other matchups so. Day 1, your record was...
I was 7-2 leaving day 1.
7-2 leaving day 1, which is obviously a fantastic record. Obviously very... I won't say comfortably heading into day 2, but
yeah,
you had that opportunity, you say, we've got to keep doing it, and then you won the next 2 and then drew the last one, right?
Yeah, so day 2, round 1 Snake Eye, won that comfortably, and then round 2... drew against Guardian against Branded Chimera in time because he comboed for ages, and bit of damage. It's one of them.
Yeah. So overall, a record of 9-2-1.
9-2-1.
9-2-1. Yeah. Fantastic. So 11 rounds. Fantastic.
No, 8-2-1.
8-2-1. All right. Okay. Well, we'll just say 9-2-1 because it sounds better. And then that 12th round you just made up. But yeah, that's an incredible achievement, man. And top 64 match. Let's talk about that because that was we were talking about this earlier. We had a Burger King just behind the scenes, wink. Because it's something I want to talk about. Let's talk about nerves.
Yeah, so I went into the top 64 match. I had a very comfortable hand. I won die roll. And, I came against a very good player. playing Snake Eye Cash, I essentially compulsed, cleared his board for him so he could then start comboing off with Unicorn. I knew he'd got Unicorn, I searched it, and if I'd made a different play, it wouldn't have ended like that. And then going into game 2, my sort of mental state went a bit because of nerves.
Yeah.
And I realised how good this guy actually was compared to people I'm used to playing against. And it was just like, yeah, I lost my composure at that point.
It's a different league.
Yeah, there was no way I was coming back.
I mean, you were, I imagine, like being up there, you're also like gassed off your head, thinking, "Holy shit, I made
Yeah,
it."
exactly. Like the thing is, it wasn't the deck that lost me. The deck could have won that match, and my hands could have won that match 100%. But as I say, it was at that point my mental state was gone. I was just like, I lost it.
You lost it, but you learn. I think you got a great experience out of it. You get it. It's always great because it means you can always improve as a player as well.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, it's great. But man, congratulations on
Thank
the top
you.
64, mate. It's a huge achievement. And let's just have one more look at this beautiful
gorgeous.
Minerva mount, a synchro Minerva, the best Minerva. And any shout-outs or anything, Dan?
Yeah, shout out to everyone at Telford for helping me test constantly, and shout out to my biggest hater, you know who you are, for trying to get me on the different list of lab, but he pushed me in the end. Had to prove a point to him.
Pretty tragic jungler here as well.
Yeah, not the best jungler, bit of an inter, but
He's better than you at being a mid laner, but like,
I don't know. But yeah, just shout out to everyone at Telford for helping me test constantly, pushing me in the game, and for bringing me back to the game, to be quite honest.
Yeah, because you did take a hiatus. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, I think you Max Siege and you just kept playing. I was like,
Yeah.
well, he just doesn't care.
Pulled me from the scrub ranks.
Yeah, it's just how. Alright, bro. But no, like, look how far. I mean, that's great. I mean, look, that was so long ago. Now, without you'd have been what, 16 then?
Probably something
Now
like
you're
that.
like 23 now.
23 now.
23, something nuts. Like, yeah. So you're gonna try again? You're gonna try to go to Euros or try?
Oh,
again?
definitely. I want to go Euros, man. I'm on the up now. I'm excited for this.
You got the up. Yeah, you ain't done yet. You're not done yet. You know, like, yeah, I've peaked. I can retire now.
Fire format's my format.
Yeah, this is your format. You're on fire. You get so. But yeah, thanks so much for the profile, Dan. It's
Thanks
been
for having
a
me.
pleasure having you. Thank you for let me pick your brain about the your deck choices and Labrynth stuff, because it's just good. It's good to hear players' actual like thought process when building a deck, rather than just, you know, here's the optimized deck list and this is how you play Lab. It's just, you know, you had some weird choices in there that people probably looked at or raised an eyebrow at.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, let's talk about that equation cannon, I suppose, before we go.
Oh God. I say if someone flips that on me, I'm not reading that.
Yeah,
do what you want, mate.
I believe you. Yeah. it's an evenly matched, I believe you. But no, thanks again, mate, and
No worries.
congratulations once again.
Thank
but,
you.
Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a bit of a long video because it was a very special treat, and this was my first video, I think, nearly a year. So yeah, I've been the Synchro Fanatic. This has been Dan, Mr. 64th place, and not 64th, but what actually that's the point. What did you finish in the end?
So before top cut, I think I was 44th.
Yeah.
I want to say I was 57th
57?
in the top 64.
57?
Yeah.
So Mr. 57.
Mr. 57.
It's like, it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Mr. 64. It's like,
We'll say Mr. 64.
we'll go because it goes a Nintendo reference in it for me, so as an old Nintendo junkie. But yeah, thanks for anyway, mate. Congratulations. I've been a Synchro Fanatic. This is Dan. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care.